Hi everyone and welcome to the live FPL Game Week 10 preview show. It's myself again, FPL Matt Day. I can't wait to go through all things Game Week 10, another big game week ahead here. Obviously, it's one of the game weeks where there's no early games. We've got a lot more time to prepare. There's a lot of 3 o'clock kickoffs, no Friday nights, no sort of Saturday early games. So going to be a really big game week ahead. Looking forward to going through this tonight. Going to go through the fixture reviews and previews, just some results from the last game week. Review this game week's fixtures as well. We'll talk about the players from each game to look out for. I'll go through some differentials as well. Some of my favourite picks for this game week. Last week we went with James Maddison as one of our player picks. He come out with 18 points, which was just absolutely phenomenal. So keep an eye on the player picks this week. We'll then go through some captain options as well. The players I think are the best captains for this week, including a curveball captain. My transfers too. I'll definitely be talking about my transfers and what I've got in store. Did have a bit of a mistake with one of my transfers, which I will talk through, which was a bit disappointing. So I can't wait to go through that. And then at the end, I've got some Q&A. I've had some questions come in from some of the audience and the fans. So I'll cover off those questions that have come in as well. So really excited to go through this game week. Let's quickly bring a couple of comments in as well. If you are watching this stream as well, come into the comments, ask questions about FPL, ask questions about anything football, just have a chat. Everyone is welcome here. Even if you just converse amongst yourselves in the comments, that's what I absolutely love. So I'll just quickly bring up a couple of comments. One here. Hello, my friend. Welcome to the stream. I hope you've been well. Thanks for sending love as well. Really, really appreciate it. We also had a comment from Football Frere as well. Great channel. Go and check him out on YouTube as well. Give him a subscribe. He is a brilliant channel. Does so much football content as well throughout the week. Also, if you are watching this on the pre-record, or even if you're coming into the stream now live, if you can just give the channel a subscribe, really, really appreciate it. Give the video a like, and as I said, get your comments in throughout the show. So really looking forward to going through all game week 10, all fixtures, all differentials, and absolutely everything. I'll quickly just put one more comment that's come up. UCL was on last night, and as everyone knows that follows my content, I did do a UCL stream. I used my wild card. Was it a success? I'll probably go through it in more detail in my next UCL pod, but I did get 87 points. So I'll go through my team more next week, but I got 87 points, and you know what? I'm pretty happy with that. If I come out of this FPL game week with 87 points, which potentially beats the average or that type of thing, then I'll be happy with that. So really good UCL night, but that will all follow in my UCL pod next week. Comments coming from Matt Cowling saying, hi Matt, great to have you on the stream, mate. Get your questions in. Let me know your thoughts on some of the picks. But let's start off now with some fixture reviews. So I'm just going to share screen, and what I'll do is I'll go through the fixtures from last week, just the results, just a quick result, and then I'll go through the preview of this week, where I will pick a game player from each game that I think is going to perform well. So quickly run through these scores. First one was obviously very frustrating for me from a Spurs perspective. Arsenal 3, Spurs 1, but look, Arsenal deserved it on the day. Look, there was the red card, which probably changed the game as well, but Arsenal did play better on the day, winning 3-1. And as you can see, Thomas Partey taking away all 3 bonus points. Xhaka with 2, playing really well this season. Granit Xhaka, Gabriel Jesus with 2. I took him out my team, and he comes up with 8 points. But I was lucky that a player I did pick as a part of the 2 transfers as a replacement did do well, which I will talk about shortly. We had Bournemouth 0, Brentford 0. One of those players I did pick, Solanke, did not score, which seems to be a bit of a common theme for him this season. But both their defences keeping a clean sheet. And as you can see, Senesi from Bournemouth with the 3, Adam Smith with 2, Neto the goalkeeper, and Ben Mee with 1. Ben Mee had a really, really good game in that one. So that was yeah, bit of a bore draw in the end. And then we had the Crystal Palace versus Chelsea game, 2-1. Chelsea obviously managed to get that game sewn up quite late. An unbelievable goal from Conor Gallagher. But all 3 points went to an old familiar FPL face in Aubameyang, who was able to get on the score sheet. So he could potentially be someone to keep an eye on in FPL. We know what he is capable of when he's on form. Edouard getting the goal early on for Palace. So 2-1 to Chelsea in that one. And then we had Fulham 1, Newcastle 4, an absolute hammering for Newcastle. Fulham had 10 men. Mitrovic owners obviously weren't happy. Yellow card and an early substitution. The Almiron owners were very, very happy as he got 2 goals and 3 bonus points. And Callum Wilson also returned to the score sheet. And we had Liverpool 3, Brighton 3. I think this was just more of a shock in terms of Trossard scoring 3 goals. There's not many players that get hat-tricks at Anfield. Just a little bit of trivia for you. Only 3 players have scored hat-tricks at Anfield in the Premier League. If you know them, put them in the comments. 2 of them I knew. Obviously, one of them was Trossard. So that's one of them. So there's 2 others. One of them I knew. The other one I actually didn't even realise had scored a hat-trick at Anfield. So if you know both of them, put them in the comments. That was 3-3. Trossard, unbelievable, with a hat-trick. And Roberto Firmino getting a couple of goals and only 1 return for Salah. And then Saints 1, Everton 2. McNeil getting his first league goal for Everton with all 3 points. No return again for James Ward-Prowse owners. And then West Ham 2, Wolves 0. Wolves again failing to score. Jared Bowen with 14 points, a goal and an assist. The Bowen from last season looks to be back, which is great news for West Ham fans and Bowen owners. We had Man City 6, Man United 3. Haaland again with another hat-trick, more goals, 2 assists, 23 points. It's just getting absolutely ridiculous now. Phenomenal stuff. And then Foden also with a hat-trick. So if you own both of those, you're in absolute dreamland on this game week. If you did own both of them and you're watching the stream, let me know in the comments. I think I've only seen maybe 1 or 2 teams that own both, so I'll be interested to know if anyone else owned both. Also had Anthony Martial with a double, De Bruyne with 2 assists. There was just returns everywhere in this one. Then we had Leeds 0, Villa 0. Yellow card for Bailey owners. A lot of people will remember Bailey as the early season sort of player to own. Leeds with strong clean sheet considering they had 10 men. Masalio in goal for Leeds with the 3 bonus points. He got 2 save points and a clean sheet. So phenomenal stuff from him. Aston Villa were close. Coutinho hit the post and Ollie Watkins, who was one of my strikers on my wild card forwards to look out for. He did miss quite a few chances, but he looked sharp. So he's someone to still consider with Villa's up-and-coming fixture, which we will go through shortly as we end on Leicester 4, Nottingham Forest 0. So that was my other transfer in the last game week. I bring Maddison in for Martinelli, Solanke in for Jesus. Jesus got 8 points. Martinelli got 4. I took a -4. But in the end, I got 20 points from Maddison, 2 points from Solanke. -4 is 16, which means I benefited 4 extra points from taking a hit. So hits can be worth it. I also got Maddison, who has since price rised, and he will probably end up in a lot of teams. And yeah, really, really happy with that pick. And Danny Ward as well, shout out to him. 3 saves, 2 bonus, and his first clean sheet of the season. So that's the preview. Let me know how your team went in the comments. And now I will go through the this week's fixtures, which is game week 10. We're 10 game weeks in already. But let's not forget, we did miss a game week as well. So there are some teams that are a game behind, and and then overall some teams are 2 games behind, and some teams are 1 game behind. So still lots to play. So if your team's not doing too well, don't worry. I'm just going to bring up some of the comments. Which had 121 last game week 9. Well, that's a phenomenal score. So well done. After a stressful week in the personal life. Hope you're okay. And anytime you can message me at any time. I hope you are well. Yeah, great score, Tron. It was phenomenal. Like that's a phenomenal score. And that is correct. Matt Cowlin is correct. Arshavin got 4 goals at Anfield in a 4-4 draw. That was phenomenal game. And then and love for Coventry City. I think that was in the maybe mid-90s. So that is absolutely correct. And now Trossard is on that list. So not many players do it. It's a tough place, to score a goal, let alone score 3. So yeah, absolutely phenomenal stuff. Welcome to the stream, PSB. Great to have you in. Game Week 9 has been an absolute nightmare. I did see your Twitter post, and yeah, I felt for you, mate. And look, I didn't captain Haaland. I've learnt my lesson on Haaland about 3 times this season. And look, I'm probably going to go through the pain more and more times because, yeah, I just like to play the game off the cuff. I know it's probably ridiculous, and I should be going with the EO and and everything else. But I've always been someone that just likes to play the game my own way and have fun with it as well. But yeah, this game week you'll see in the captain picks, I'm probably not going to go against him. But I did in the last one. I went Salah. I just didn't expect Man United to let 6 goals in a Manchester derby. I know they've done it before, but that was what, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Like I didn't expect it to happen again, but it did. And we move on. There's plenty of game weeks to go. And then Chonza's come in and said he had Maddison, Foden, and Haaland. So there you go. That is unbelievable stuff. So well done to yourself. So let's go through these fixtures for game week 10. And as I mentioned earlier, there's no early kickoff. So it gives us a couple of days now to sit back, have a think about what we want to do. If you've got 2 transfers, you could potentially use 3 and do like a mini wildcard, take a hit. You could use 1, save 2 for the following game week. There's so many different things we can do. So we've got Bournemouth versus Leicester, which is a 3 p.m. kickoff in England. I think Leicester getting their win, I think it could give them that little bit more confidence. I do think they'll concede. I'm going to back Solanke to actually score in this game. And I think Leicester will win this game 2-1. Maddison is my pick from this game. If you haven't got him in your team and you can afford to get him in, even if it is at the expense of a -4, to find a way to get him in, I think get him in. He's got a great run of fixtures. And he is just looking absolutely brilliant. He's managed to score FPL points in a Leicester team that's losing. And it just showed how much of a threat he can be when Leicester are winning. Then we've got Chelsea Wolves as well, which is part of the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Very toothless Wolves team, just sat their manager. That Chelsea haven't been that great this season themselves, have looked poor defensively, but they did beat AC Milan in the Champions League. I think Chelsea will win this game. They'll find a way to win this one, maybe sort of 2-0 to Chelsea. And I'm going to pick, there's a couple of players I like. One of them is actually going to be one of my player picks for the game week, who I don't want to pick right now. So I'm going to say for a different type of option in this game from Chelsea, you could possibly look at maybe Raheem Sterling as an attacker. I think he's got really, really good potential in this match. I can see Chelsea winning this one quite easily. And then we've got we've got Man City versus Southampton. This one, I think with Saints potentially looking at sacking Ralph Hasenhuttl, I think it could just be one-way traffic. Southampton have got a good record in this game. But can I see them getting anything this season? No, I think it could easily be 4 or 5-0 to City, depending on how hard they go in this game. And there's plenty of good players to pick from this one. But has to be Haaland as the main man to have. And then we've got, and I'll go 4-0. I'll go 4-0 Man City. And then we'll go Newcastle, Brentford. I think this could be a really tight game. You've got a Newcastle team that does look quite tight at the back. I know a lot of people who have got Pope and Trippier as the double up will be absolutely gutted. They did not keep that late clean sheet against Fulham. But this has potential to be another 0-0, 1-0 type of game. Brentford, when they're on it, they're on it. More than often than not, that is at home. So I think Newcastle will win this one 1-0. And I think this is the game for Callum Wilson, I think Wilson will get the goal. But I've got to say this comment that's just coming from PSB, I agree. I do want Brentford to wipe that Newcastle clean sheet. I do own Trippier. But I haven't doubled up on the Newcastle defence myself. So I'm always benefiting if Newcastle concede. But obviously, if Trippier returns, even better for my team. So I'll go 1-0 Newcastle. And then my team Spurs playing away at Brighton in a tough game. Brighton are looking brilliant this season. They've obviously got new coaching, great style of football. Trossard's on form, Welbeck's on form, McAllister's on form, Pascal Gross is on form. With Spurs obviously been labelled as a bit of a conservative team lately. But I think that we won this game 2-0 last season. Harry Kane did get the second goal. I remember the first goal was a deflection off Kulusevski from a Son shot. We won 2-0. Kane got the second. Should have had a penalty at the end. And I do remember that he got the bonus and he had a really good game that night. So I'll back Kane to score in this one. I think Kane's the man to have in this match. I think Spurs will edge it, but I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it might be maybe 2-1 to Spurs, but I'm not that confident because Brighton are a good side. And then we've got Palace versus Leeds. Obviously, all the talks about Zaha this week. But I am liking Leeds' defence, and I'm really liking their keeper, Masalia. I think he's a brilliant keeper. He's a great shot stopper. Jesse Marsh has got Leeds very organised this season. So I will back potentially a 1-1 draw in this. I'll still go with a Zaha goal and maybe for Leeds, potentially someone like a Rodrigo or a Jack Harrison. It's hard to tell, but I think I'll pick Zaha as my man for this game. And then we've got West Ham versus Fulham. Fulham obviously coming off the back of a 4-1. It's hard to predict what's going to happen in this one because West Ham are obviously playing in the Europa Conference. You never know what players are going to be injured or what players are actually going to be able to play. In this one, but I still think, despite going from Thursdays to Sundays and Fulham having the week off, I still think West Ham will come out and win this one comfortably. I think it'll be 3-1. I really like the look of Jared Bowen in this fixture. So he is my man to back in this one. And I'll go 3-1 win for West Ham. And then we got the big one of the weekend, Arsenal versus Liverpool. Huge game. Liverpool obviously winning in the Champions League in the week. They looked a lot more like themselves. Arsenal obviously looking brilliant for most of the season. This is going to be a very, very tough game. It's a tough one to pick. Liverpool got a great record recently at the Emirates as well. I'd like to say I got a sneaky suspicion Liverpool might actually get it together and win this game. And I have said this to a few Liverpool fans. Liverpool have not lost many games this season. Their form hasn't been great. I guess on the eye or, from a neutral fan's perspective, but they've lost one match in the league, 2 games all season, 1 in the Champions League. So they've drawn a lot of games while still scoring goals in those draws. 3 against Brighton, 2 against Fulham. So I'm not overly concerned in the respect of them not being able to score goals. So look, I'll back I do think they'll keep it a little bit more solid in this one. So I'm going to back a 1-1. And the man to pick is tough. You know what? I'm going to go against the grain of what everyone's sort of been saying. I'm going to back Trent. After seeing that free kick against Rangers, I can see him whipping one in and kind of just shushing a few people up. And then we've got Everton versus Man United. This is another big game. Everton are not losing games. They're not letting goals in. Man United have just let 6 goals in. I know it was against Man City, but it's a derby. So I'll be very interested to see how Man United bounce back. Man United have struggled at the stadium now for 2 seasons in a row. Lost last year. They got hammered the year before. So it could have been the year before that, actually. I'm not sure how they got on during the lockdown season at Goodison. They might have won that one. I remember them losing 4-0 a couple of seasons ago. But yeah, maybe United might bounce back out of this one. But again, I'm thinking of 1-1. Everton are very scrappy in these types of games. Good Goodison crowd as well. Really good home crowd. So I'll go 1-1. And I'm liking, if Martial gets the start, I'll go Martial. Come off the bench, got 2 goals. It could be a good one for him to maybe grab a goal. So I'll go Martial on 1-1. And then just for the end of our fixture preview, Nottingham Forest versus Aston Villa. Yeah, Forest aren't on great form. Villa aren't, they're not on bad, they're not on as bad form as everyone was sort of saying at the start of the season. They've not lost in the last couple, but they're not looking sort of great, are they? I still think they'll beat Forest, a bit of a Midlands derby. I still think they'll win this. 2-0 to Aston Villa. I can't see Forest getting anything out of this game at the moment. They're just on that type of form. And Philip Coutinho, I've already seen a comment come in actually. Philip Coutinho, who's in my team, I've had him for a couple of weeks for this run of games of Villa because I just feel like he's got something to prove. He's my pick for this, and I'm going to go 2-0 to Aston Villa. So that's my fixture preview for the game week. I'm going to bring up some comments now that have come through whilst I've just been going on about all the picks and scores for game week 10. So I'll bring up some comments and then I will go through my my player picks for the week, my differentials, the questions that have come in from the audience on Twitter, Instagram, and the social media. And then we'll go through the Q&A that comes in the comments. Also, if you've just come into the stream, you're watching the stream, whether you're on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, any of those platforms, if you can come onto the YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you're new around here, and hit the notification button so you don't miss a video as well. If you are already subscribed to the channel and you can't hit the notification button, unsubscribe and subscribe again, and then you'll be able to hit the notification button from there. I will go over that again at the end of the video as well. But let's bring up some comments that I have not bring up yet. So we had this comment from Tron saying, I'm going to bank a transfer. I love that idea. If you've just come off a 121-point week, you can certainly afford to bank a transfer. Your team is perfect. That is great to hear. PSB mentioning that Bruno Lage is gone too from Wolves. No manager, can't score goals. It's not the best recipe, is it? Although in saying that, we did say the same about Bournemouth when they lost sort of Scott Parker, and they've actually done okay since he's gone. But yeah, Wolves are looking very toothless. Trans is going to be benching players like Cucurella and Gordon and Danny Ward. That is interesting, actually. If you are a Danny Ward owner, will you be benching him at Bournemouth, or will you be playing him after he's obviously got his clean sheet and you've got a Bournemouth team that obviously have been struggling to score goals this season? Another comment from PSB. This is what we actually spoke about. Sorry, badly wanting Brentford to wipe out the Newcastle clean sheet. Trons is playing Guetta, 3-4-3, Cancelo, Justin Tripp, Zaha, Mad, Foden, Diaz, Aubameyang, Haaland captain, and Tony. That is a very, very good lineup. Another comment from PSB. He thinks it'll be 2-2 at the Amex. And he also thinks it's going to be 2-2 at the Emirates, and he's backing Mo Salah to score. I actually think Salah will score in that as well, but when I talk through my transfers later on, I might be selling him this game week. Quinton down with the comment. Hey, Matt, keen to see your picks this week. Welcome to the stream, mate. Always love your comments, so get them coming in and all of your questions. He's gone Tony to Watkins or save transfer. I think you save that one. Tony's fixtures are too good. Quinton also saying Jesus and Salah will score. And then PSB reconfirming my notes with Coutinho. Playing in the Maddison role, I think he does well versus Forest. That's the comments that have come in. If you've got any more questions or comments, put them in and we'll go through them. So now it's time to start talking about some captains and differentials and picks for this game week. So I reckon let's start with the captains, because I think some of them are quite self-explanatory. So number one captain, Haaland. I don't need to say anything. Ownership's high, scoring 2 to 3 goals a game. At home, 3 back-to-back hat-tricks. Number one captain. Number two, I've gone Kevin De Bruyne. 2 assists in his last game. I think he's a really good pick with this City home game. And I'm going to put Foden in joint second with him. I don't think there's much in it. I know De Bruyne's got the corners. I do think Foden's more of a goal threat, whereas De Bruyne's more of an assist threat. I can't pick between them. So I've put them both as sort of a joint second. And then I put Maddison in at number 3 away at Bournemouth. We know what he can do. And we know he can just haul as well. And his free kicks are such a big weapon, which is a big part of why he's such a good FPL asset, because he can just bang a free kick in at any moment in time. So they're my captains. And my curveball is going to be Reece James this week. You've got a Wolves team that's failed to score in 5 games this season. They're without a manager at the moment. They're pretty toothless. James has just come off the back of a haul in the Champions League, got a goal and an assist in the Champions League fantasy. So he's actually not just my curveball. At 38% owned, he's still a curveball when you remember Haaland's 80% owned nearly. So James is definitely a curveball. But he's also my player pick. I think he's someone that, if you've already got Haaland, if you're covered with Man City, if you've got James Maddison, then Reece James is the player pick for the week. Like I've mentioned, Wolves have failed to score in 5 games. He hauled in the Champions League with a goal and assist. Chelsea play them at home. I think this is the week where Reece James is the player pick to have. So that's the player pick. Now let's go, and the captains as well. So let's go into... we'll quickly go into my transfer, and then I'll do the differentials. My transfer was going to be Zaha for Ward-Prowse, but I wanted to wait until Europe was done, mainly the Champions League. And I did wait, and then I looked today, and Ward-Prowse took a minor 0.1 hit. So I had the exact money to swap Ward-Prowse for Zaha. I can't do it now because I'm 0.1 million down because of the James Ward-Prowse price fall. So now I think what I'm going to have to do is take a -4, and I didn't want to have to do it. But Zaha has been a player I've wanted in my team. He's number 1 in my midfielder wildcard picks. So he's someone that I've had on my mind for a while. Great fixture run. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of this this Leeds game, but I really like the Leicester game that comes up next week, and then the resultant games after that. So because I really want Zaha, I want to stick with my philosophy of bringing in Zaha, and then I'm going to have to take a -4. And with the -4, I'm probably going to take Salah out. I don't necessarily want to have to do it, but I think if I can take Salah out for a Foden or a De Bruyne, potentially Foden, and they can get 10 plus points, and Salah can be limited to below 10 points, then I think, like last week, a -4 could be worth it for my team. So that is going to be my transfers. I will go through my differentials now, but I'm going to bring up some comments that have come in the stream. Trons has said World Cup stream anytime this year. I will be streaming the World Cup this year, actually. So what I'll be doing is some fantasy league for the World Cup. I'll have a mini league. Probably be doing some collaborations with the FPL Amateurs of Oz as well. I know he's going to be really big on the World Cup, so I'll be joining his streams. He'll be joining my streams. So there'll be a bit of collaboration there. So there will definitely be some World Cup stuff this year. I've had a comment from Renee. Love your channel, Matt. Thank you so much. Appreciate all of the support. Everyone that comes in, asks the questions, watches the streams, brings their football and FPL knowledge. I absolutely love it. Have I fixed notifications issue? As Trons has said, I have fixed the notifications issue. All you need to do, so if you click the notifications on my page and it doesn't let you click it, it's because you were already subscribed to me. Unsubscribe, subscribe again, and then hit the notification bell, and then you will not miss a video. So I'll be doing videos. I've got shorts. I'm also on TikTok, FPL Matt Day, so you can find a lot of my shorts on there. And then sometimes I post those shorts on YouTube. So yeah, plenty of that content every week. One of my picks on there last week was the Maddison pick, and obviously that has gone down very well on TikTok, which is good. And just a comment there from Trons. Glad to see you in the stream, Renee. So Trons is absolutely loving all of the support on the stream as well, which is great to see. And Renee just saying thanks, Matt. So let's go on. And here you go. So TikTok's banned in India. Oh, that's a shame. Sorry to hear. Yeah, otherwise I would have said get on my TikTok. It means I'm going to have to post more YouTube shorts for you, mate. You can watch the YouTube shorts, like the YouTube shorts, and obviously give them a comment. So now I'm going to go through my differentials for game week 10. So let's bring them up now. All right, so I've actually got one exception to the rule. So everyone that tunes into the streams on a regular basis knows my differentials. for 10% and under. I've got one exception this week, and I've gone with a player that's 12.9% owned because he's still a massive differential in the grand scheme of things as a Man City midfielder. Bernardo Silva at home to Southampton. He's got 5 returns in his last 6 games. I think he's a really good pick this week. If you don't have the money to go to Phil Foden, I think he's a really good pick. So he's an exception to the 10% and under rule for this week. Never ever would I do that, but this week I wanted to do it because I feel like you kind of need to do that with Man City players. And then my next one, I mentioned him earlier, Sterling. He's one of my picks for that Chelsea game, 9.1% owned, so he's still under 10%. He's got a Wolves team that just failing to score goals. They are quite deep defensively, but I think this is a great fixture for Sterling. Wolves, as we've mentioned a few times now, have no manager this week. Next one, I still can't believe he's only 4.2% owned after his haul last week. It is probably going to go up in the next 2 days. It's Jared Bowen, 4.2% owned, home to Fulham. You know what? He could be a curveball captain. 14 points last week, home to Fulham. I guess the one thing about why he might not be as highly owned right now is there's probably a lot of managers waiting for the Europa Conference League to finish, which makes sense. But I think if he comes out of that, fully fit and fine, he is a great pick for this week. He's a great pick. It's tough to pick between him and Maddison for this week because I love them both. You can split them down the middle. Obviously, if you can own both, even better. I'd probably even go as far as saying like swapping out Salah for Bowen for this game week is probably worth it. But I can see that being a good pick. I'm actually potentially maybe even selling myself as Bowen as my -4 instead of doing the Foden pick. Now I'm looking at it more. So let me have it. Actually, I'm going to bring up his fixtures for Jared Bowen. So he has got Fulham home, Southampton away. He then plays, and that could be a managerless Southampton. He then plays Liverpool away, conceding goals. Bournemouth at home, Man United away, Palace home, Leicester home before the World Cup. So he's got 7 games before the World Cup, and 4 of them are at home. So definitely keep an eye on Jared Bowen, and don't be scared to bring him in for someone like Salah, because we know Bowen from last season. When he's on form, he's not an £8 million midfielder. He is a £10 to £11 million midfielder. His stats were phenomenal last season. And then my last differential pick is Scamacca, the striker from West Ham. Scored a great goal last week against who do they play now? West Ham. We've obviously just gone through the fixtures as well, haven't we? Oh my God, I've lost it. It was Wolves, wasn't it? It was Wolves. 2-0. Scamacca scored that brilliant sort of like a volley, wasn't it? And it was just phenomenal. He's only 0.7% owned, which makes sense. Hasn't shown too much this season. One to keep an eye on again in the Europa Conference, but I think he is an absolutely brilliant pick if he comes out of the conference unscathed. Really low ownership. Strikers are obviously a bit of a struggle at the moment. I think he's a bit of a struggle. It's hard to kind of find the players right now. So, I think he's a really good pick from a differential perspective. So that's my captains, that's my differentials, and that is my player pick for this game week. So now I'm going to move on to the questions that have come in from my followers. So let's go into them. Just before I do, I'll bring up this quick comment that's come through. Everyone will be trying to be on fire for selection in the World Cup. That's 100% true. Obviously, the Italians won't because Italy are not in the World Cup. So Scamacca won't. But the likes of Jared Bowen certainly will be playing for his World Cup place. That is a very good point. If Bowen can come into form right now, up until the World Cup, it's perfect timing. This is a huge chance for him to get in this England squad. So let's go up through some questions. Get your questions in the comments as well. Now, if you've got any other FPL questions for Game Week 10, please put them in the comments. I want to answer the questions. We've got people in the audience that want to help as well. So if you are just joining the stream now, get your questions in the comments. Give the video a like, or if you're new, give the channel a subscribe, and just get your questions in now whilst we go through the live Q&A. So I had a question from FPL SideNet. He's a good Twitter account as well, so give him a follow. FPL SideNet does a really good podcast. He asked me, is Foden worth a -4? Yes. Yes, he is worth a -4. And I'll tell you why, because I'm considering doing it myself. I think he is. I think if you're, obviously, I don't know the two players you're bringing out. But on face value, I think it's a great choice because you got 20 points last week with his hat trick, or 19, 20 points, which was just phenomenal. And you expect him to get 10 plus points again this week. So if you think whoever you're taking out on the -4, if you look at that player and you think he ain't getting more than 10 points, then I'll do it because I think Foden has that potential, that explosiveness, the form, rested in the Champions League last night. I think he is worth a -4. I'm looking at doing it. And I think it's a really, really good opportunity to get in a fresh Man City midfielder, whether it's Foden, whether it's De Bruyne, whether it's Bernardo Silva. I think there is a lot of potential to have that second or third Man City player, because obviously there's a lot of people on Haaland and Cancelo. So great question, FPL SideNet, and obviously it flows in really well with my transfer, which obviously I spoke about earlier. We had a question from FPL Shake and Bake. He asked, is Game Week 12 sacrificable given Man City and Arsenal have great assets? Can you go with 9 or 10 men? So what I think he means by this is in Game Week 12, Arsenal Man City were supposed to play each other at the Emirates, but there was obviously rail strikes. They had to cancel the game. So what he's asking is, I'm assuming he's probably got 4 players combined between Man City, or maybe 6. He could have De Bruyne, he could have Haaland, he could have Cancelo, Jesus, Martinelli, Saliba. Looks like the stream just dropped for a second. I am back, so hopefully you can hear me. He is in a position where he could be going into Game Week 12 with 3 players. 9 players or 8 players potentially, because he's going to have to bench those players. If you've got 6 players between Man City and Arsenal, you can only stick 3 on the bench. So you're going to have 8 men, and then 9 men if you transfer one of them out. So he's saying, is it sacrificable? Can he go with 9 or 10 men? You know what? I think you can, because with Arsenal having good fixtures after that, I know they got Nottingham Forest after that, which is a really, really good fixture to return to. You could be going into that with 2, Arsenal assets, and unless people are using wildcards or roll transfers, people might have to take hits or only have 1 Arsenal player for that game week. So I think you can do it. I think you can go into that game week with 10 men, maybe even push 9, depending on how strong your team is and how you're looking, because you don't want to lose value. You don't want to lose value in some of these guys. Cancelo, Haaland. Of course, you don't want to lose Haaland. Martinelli, Saliba, like these players, you don't want to just lose value just for the sake of 1 game week, especially with Arsenal having that Forest fixture after, and Man City also have great fixtures. I think every fixture is great for them at the moment. So that was, really good question. And then we had 2 questions from the FPL Amateurs of Oz. Quinton, he asked me, is Wilson a good option? So he means Callum Wilson from Newcastle. They have Brentford this week, and then the following fixtures. So I'll read out the rest of Wilson's fixtures. So I'm just going to bring them up now, and I'll read them out to you. So he's 1.3% selected, 7.2 million. His fixtures are Brentford home, Man United away, Everton home, Tottenham away, Villa home, Southampton away, Chelsea home, and that's up until the World Cup. So that's 4 fixtures at home. He's got some tough ones in there. Newcastle scored 4 last week. He's back in the team. I'll say yes. I think we're quite scarce for strikers at the moment. It's a tough position to fill. He's on pens, remains on pens. So I'd say yes, he is a good option. He started 4 games this season. He's returned in 3 of them. One of them was against Man City, who are obviously the best team in the league. So he can do it against the top sides. I'll do it with caution, though. Every time you sign Wilson, you do it with caution. You do it just thinking, you know what? He could get injured, hamstrings, the other injuries. but yeah, I think, at least you'll get at least the next 3 or 4 games out of him. And if you apologies, the connection is dropping. We've actually got really bad weather where I am in Melbourne. I might have the Wi-Fi on a few too many devices as well, which probably doesn't help the stream. So I'm sorry if it does cut out again. And I hope that helps you, Q. We also had another question. Is Zamura a good option from Bournemouth? The defender, he's 4.4 million, huge enabler right now. Yes, he is a good option. Cheap enabler, good fixtures. He's got 4 returns in 8 games for Bournemouth. Phenomenal stuff. And one of them he conceded a goal in and still got an assist. I think at 4.4 million with his fixtures. Neto's playing really well in goal for Bournemouth. They're actually keeping some clean sheets. I'd say yes, he's a good option at that price, especially if you need to save some money. And we did just lose our 4.4 million option, although unless he rised, which was Fofana at Chelsea. He's now done his ACL. So I think he is a very good option. So now let's just go through the questions that have come in the comments. We've had another one from Trons, Cucurella or Justin to bench. Look, I think if Cucurella's back and he's going to start, I would play him. And I'd bench James Justin, just because I know Leicester got their clean sheet the other day, but I think there's more of a chance of Chelsea keeping a clean sheet against the Wolves team that hasn't scored in 5 games compared to a Leicester team that was letting goals in for fun up until they played probably the worst team in the league, which is Nottingham Forest. So I would play Cucurella over him. Renee has asked, is there a cheaper alternative to Haaland? No. This simple question to that answer to that question is no. There just isn't. 14 goals already this season. That's double the amount of the next striker, which is Harry Kane, who's on 7. Nah, there's just no other options. I've learned that the hard way. I've missed out on some of his hauls. And that's probably been why my team hasn't performed to the same level as what it had last season. Obviously, last season was a great season for me, but I am looking to get back on track. Now Haaland will be my permacap. I know I'll be back, but there is no alternative. Do not make the same mistake as me, Renee. She is struggling for dollars, which is a shame. It's always hard when you're struggling for the cash, but don't sacrifice it in Haaland. If you're going to sacrifice it in an expensive asset, sacrifice it in Salah if you're going to pick between an asset to sacrifice some money from. And then got one more question that's come in. I'm about to bring it up. But if you are watching the stream now, please get your questions in. Be great to have some more questions before I wrap up the podcast and the stream. I'd love to answer a few more. So get them in. Ask whatever you like for Game Week 10. So we have got a few people that have tuned in. So it would be great to answer a couple more questions. Another one here that's coming, which is the best website for checking price rises and falls? Do you know what? There's a few, but I just check Twitter. I'm just on Twitter. There's a lot of so you can go on to quite a few. I think there's live FPL price rises or price rise status. There's a few different ones on Twitter. I'll just go on Twitter. FPL price rises, put that in, and you can find plenty of Twitter pages that can do that and help you out, and you get it pretty much instantly. So, and there's also a lot of ones that will help predict on there. There is a few other tools that you can use online, but I just think Twitter's great, and there's a lot of people that predict stuff on there as well. And approximately what time does the player's price reset? Yeah, you know what? I always find now with FPL, I don't even know if there is a time anymore. Everyone says that, it tends to be sort of morning hours in the UK, late evening hours in the UK, which ends up being the morning here in Australia. But honestly, like with FPL, the way it's gone this season, the amount of people that have transferred players in and out, and it's been so volatile. Like I'd go as far as saying, like, I actually don't even know if there is a set time anymore. It's just relentless, mate. So, yeah, I actually don't really know if there is a set time right now, I'm afraid. But look, if that is all the questions, I will look to wrap up very shortly. If you are watching now and you've got any more last minute questions, please get them in. If you don't have any other questions now, you can message me on Instagram FPL Matt Day. Shoot me a DM, give me a follow. Happy to help on there. I'll have a Premier League Twitter thread, which will be posted tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. It'll have all the differentials again on there, all of the player picks, lots of content, all the different links. So you can also post your your questions on there if you've got any other ones. Prior to deadline, which is on Saturday, which will be 1:30 p.m. UK time. Obviously, there is no early kickoff. And then, TikTok, you can follow me on there, FPL Matt Day. I'll have a few other tips and things on there prior to the game week. And if you are new here, give the video a like, give me a subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're not new, you're already subscribed and you can't get the notifications, then unsubscribe, subscribe again, and click the bell, and then you won't miss a video. I've got this FPL stream. I'll be doing an FPL review, Champions League previews, loads of shorts, lots of other videos as well to come. So you don't want to miss a video. I'm just going to bring up the last two comments that have come through. Good stream. Thanks for tuning in. You've been in the stream the whole way through, mate, and it's been great to have you on here. I hope you're feeling better. I know you did send me a message the other day on Twitter, and you just weren't feeling that great. So I hope you're feeling better now. And I will see you on Twitter. And I completely agree. I hope everyone else's game weeks goes really well. Let's all hope we can get some green arrows this week. Really looking forward to game week 10. Hopefully some of us who probably aren't performing as well, this can be the week that we are elevated and we can get our teams back up with some green arrows. And we've just had a comment from Renee. Love the stream. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for joining the stream, Renee. And thanks to everyone who did tune in on the stream. Really appreciate all the support. It's absolutely great to have you all here. That's me done. FPL Matt Day. Good luck, everyone, for game week 11. And I will see you all in the next one.